It is now my pleasure to introduce County Executive Laura Curran.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for being here. What a gorgeous day in Nassau County. It's wonderful to see the Willett family, Flo and Blake and everyone else. Thank you so much, friends, neighbors, colleagues, residents, legislators, everyone else. It's just wonderful, wonderful to be here. I also want to acknowledge, I don't know if TJ Hatter from the Attorney General's office was acknowledged, but he's here as well. So, and Blake, thank you for your service to Nassau County's police force as well. We appreciate that. So it is, yes, thank you. This, I think, is a very fitting way to kick off National Police Week, a time to recognize our brave law enforcement officers for protecting and serving our communities here in Nassau. There is a proud legacy of law enforcement right here in our county, and today we are honoring a man who was integral to that, and integral to what makes this police department what it is today. So in 1953, a young man from Glen Cove, William J. Willett, fresh from serving his nation in the Navy in the Korean War, came back. He returned home and wanted to continue serving his community now at home as a police officer. His father and his friends said, forget about it, don't do it. At that time, the department already had its quota of people of color. But William J. Willett was determined, and he joined that police department in 1953. During the course of his nearly 50-year police career, he worked his way up the ranks, the old-fashioned way, becoming the first black patrol supervisor and precinct commander, serving as first deputy commissioner. Commissioner Willett rose to become the first black police commissioner in the history of Long Island. And I think that's worth a round of applause right there. And you know, you talk to anyone, he had a sterling reputation. I just ran into someone, a friend of the family, retired police officer, didn't know we were doing this, doesn't even live in Nassau anymore. And he brought up, oh, Willett, he was a great commissioner, always fair, always such integrity. This is how people speak about him. He had a real reputation for fairness and compassion and for true leadership. He spent a lot of his career in the Community Relations Bureau and helped enshrine our strong culture of community policing here in Nassau. I always say it's part of our DNA, and he really embodied that aspect. Loyalty, integrity, fairness, excellence to all of the communities that we serve. These are the values of the department, and they're still the values of the department today, and that's exactly what Commissioner Willett stood for. I understand that today would have been his 90th birthday, is that correct? 94th? Oh, the 4th. May 4th. Okay, May 4th would have been his 90th birthday, and we want to make sure that his legacy carries through the proud tradition of the police department. And I just want to give the county legislature a special thanks for getting this going and spearheading this, and I am very, very happy to support it. And more importantly, I'm happy to see everyone else here supporting this great move for Nassau. Thank you very much and have a wonderful, blessed day.
It's now my pleasure to introduce Legislator Richard Nicolello.
Thank you. Thank you. Today is a proud day. It's a proud day for the Willett family, as Commissioner Willett gets the recognition he so richly deserves. It's a proud day for our county. It's a proud day for the Nassau County Police Department, and for all of us in the legislature who worked with the county executive to have the building renamed for Commissioner Willett. It's a proud day as well. I have been with the legislature for 25 years, and I had the privilege back in 2000 to vote for the confirmation of Commissioner Willett, one of the best votes I ever took. He just exuded dignity. You know, he was a natural leader. And the county executive gave a little bit of a talk about his background in the years he spent in the police department, a patrolman in 1953, supervisor in 1961, and all those years all the way up to being commissioner, 50 years in the force. You know, it had to be a difficult path. He was an African-American in Nassau County in 1953, assuming the role as a police officer. But he took that path, that difficult path, with character, with strength, and with leadership, and he is a role model for all of us. So the building will have Commissioner Willett's name on it. It will be the Commissioner Willett Nassau County Police Headquarters. And let us hope let us hope that it is an inspiration of every officer, every chief, every police officer who enters that building, especially officers of color, that is an inspiration that they should strive to do their very best and to do the utmost that any police officer can do. So I want to thank you. God bless the family. God bless America. Thank you.
It's now my pleasure to introduce Legislator Sierra Bynum.
Good morning, good morning. It does my heart well to be here as we honor the legacy of Commissioner Willett. He stood for all that embodies the noble work of police enforcement, law enforcement. He thought it not robbery after serving this country to come back and join this force. And he has he's trailblazed a legacy here that many have followed, including Chief Palmer, Chief Sowell, and others. I think it's important that we enshrine his legacy here today, not just to inspire current law enforcement, but young people across these county communities to join the law enforcement of Nassau County. So I will tell you that he inspired his son, Blake, to be a Nassau County Police Department officer, but I knew him as a New York City Police Department. Okay, he was NYPD, is what I remember. And I remember that because when I used to, a young, fun sealer, used to be going into Manhattan to hang out, I'd go through Penn Station and I felt just that much safer because Blake was there on patrol. And he made sure that as we disembarked the trains, we were safe, and when we came back through to get back on the train to head back to Westbury, that we were safe. So he not only are we the beneficiary of Commissioner Willett, but New York City has been a beneficiary of Commissioner Willett, and I believe further down the road we will have young people who will be inspired to join the police force. So I stand here proud of all that he has accomplished, and I stand here proud as a resident of Westbury, where we would frequently see Commissioner Willett ride by the park, check in on us to see what we were doing. And we would also see his beautiful wife in the Westbury High School serving us as a nurse, making sure that we were fine and we were all well. This is a rich legacy that this family has in the community of Westbury. And as Robin Bowling would say, Westbury love is real love. So I thank you all for being here and celebrating his legacy.
Thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce Commissioner of Police Patrick Ryder.
For the record, we got to get this straight. Blake was an MTA cop, Long Island Railroad Police. I don't want to have to fix his pension now. And if you haven't seen it, Commissioner Willett just spoke to us by dropping on the floor when he heard that his son was a county cop. What a beautiful day. And thank you all for coming in. It's a great day to name the building as a presiding officer, and the legislators put this bill forward. It is a proud moment for me as a commissioner to be part of this ceremony. I came into this job in 1986. When Commissioner Willett came through in 1953, he came through the same doors. And he came through with a time in our history where the African American police officers were not welcome. We welcome all to this police department today, and it is because of the trailblazer of Bill Willett that set the groundwork that makes that happen today. I'm one of the fortunate ones. I had to work directly for Commissioner Willett, or some may say unfortunate. When I came over in 2000 into asset forfeiture working with Lieutenant Mike Fleming, we answered to both First Deputy Commissioner Jack Costello, who is here today, Second Deputy Commissioner John Kennedy. I think I still answer to John today. And, of course, the great one, Bill Willett. And when you got called up to his office, he was that quiet lion, sitting there humble in his chair, thankful for what he had and thankful for the officers that came in front of you. In his obituary, years ago, it was written by a police officer, John Giordaniello. No matter what rank William Willett attained, he always had a wave or an hello and a warm smile to make you feel good about yourself and that you meant something to this police department. A good leader takes a little bit from everybody. I've met many super bosses on this job, and I take a little bit from them. One of the things I go out of my way every day is to stop and say hello to a cop, ask him how's he doing, give him a smile and a handshake. That I learned from Commissioner Willett, and I'm thankful for that. Bill Willett, after graduating high school and then went off to serve our country in the Korean War, became a patrolman back in 1953, now the rank of correctly called as police officer. In August 3rd, 1953, he was assigned to the 5th Precinct. In June of 61, promoted to sergeant in the 5th Precinct, then detective sergeant, then lieutenant, then detective lieutenant, then captain, then detective captain. He was the first captain on the job to be African American, the first captain, detective captain, to be an African American, the first deputy inspector, the first inspector. He was promoted to deputy chief, the first second deputy chief, promoted to the chief of patrol, promoted to the transferred to the chief of support. Then he was the chief of operations, now known as the chief of department, where Chief Palmer serves at. He was then the first deputy commissioner and then went on to be commissioner. The one rank he did not, or designation he did not get, was detective. This morning, I was very proud to sign an order. It's kind of old and a little bit behind. On May 25th in 1961, we were going to promote William Willett from the rank of police officer to detective. We took a shield number 1029, and we have that in glass that we're going to give to the family today. The county exec will present it. We also went downstairs into the uniform section. His shield number is still there. So we are retiring his shield number. It'll never be worn by another law enforcement officer in this county.
Thank you, Commissioner. I would like to invite Florence Willett to speak.
Oh my. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, I just wanted to thank the Commissioner, Executive Lauren, Curran, for making this historic day possible for my family. Yeah, what you need? Oh, okay. I'm humbled. I'm so humbled by this dedication. The naming of the headquarters, name of my husband, is a great testament of all the sacrifice and the dedication that he put forward to the county of Nassau. Bill, We are so proud of you. Thank you for our friends, our family who are here today. I'm just overwhelmed. And excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm overwhelmed, and thank you everyone being a part of this extraordinary day. I'll never forget you. God bless you all. Thank you.
I would now like to invite Danny Willett up to speak.
Good morning. I want to thank everyone for coming out on this monumental day to honor an incredible individual. For those who don't know me, I'm the baby of the family, but obviously I'm not a baby now, but you get an idea. Oh. Okay. Usually I stay in the background, don't say much, but today I have a lot to speak on the insight of my father from my perspective. Firstly, if there's anyone that was a man's man, it was my dad. My father was conservative in his ways and way of being, but he was tough as nails. He never wavered in how he went about his business. He was a regimented individual. I mean, it was kind of to a fault at times, but he was the same person all the time. He woke up 5:30 in the morning, whether it was for work or his day off. And to tell you the truth, he was like the family alarm clock when I was a kid. And I can remember him banging on that door, "Hey, Dan, get up." And you're going to get up from that alarm. You're not going to put it on snooze. It's a lot better than a smartphone. But I could still see him shining his shoes on the side of the bed, the toe of his shoe to a mirror finish, what you call a spit shine. He polished the buttons on his uniform with Brasso. It was like he was ready for a spot inspection. But to tell you the truth, that was just him. That was just his way of being. He was a very disciplined person. And in my opinion, I think that is the reason, or partly the reason, why he was able to do what he did in 48 years of service on the Nassau County Police Department. As a boy, on many occasions, I watched documentaries with my father. I watched the documentaries, but I also watched him, and God forbid if I asked a question, it was always stop and listen. But I watched him study tactics and ideologies of great generals like Rommel and Patton, and now that I'm a grown man, I realized that, hey, he was in the same class as a leader. He was a natural-born leader. He was dedicated to his men, even at the expense of his family at times. And I'm not going to lie, it was tough. It was tough sometimes, but you know what, Dad? I truly know you loved your men. His dedication was unparalleled, not only to the police department, but to his Catholic faith. When tragedy struck, times were dark, his faith never wavered. His faith seemed to only get stronger, keeping him in line to continue to lead his family and the men and women of Nassau County Police Department. As a man of faith, this ties into who he was as a man in general, a man of integrity, fairness, and selflessness to serve others. Personally, this is just, it's such an honorable day for me because just the mere mention of headquarters, it just brings a warm feeling inside because I can remember countless times when I was a kid how excited I was to come to headquarters, whether it was a promotion ceremony or open house or, just visiting my dad. How proud I felt to be a part of this police family and a pleasure to see my father interact with his officers. He was like a kid in the candy store. I can honestly say that he would be happy for this day. We did it, Dan. We did it. To be enshrined for eternity as a pillar of Nassau County. Memories can never be taken from our hearts. In many ways, they influence our decisions going forward. They help us carry on. And that's what my father did for me and all that encountered him. With the naming of headquarters, my father, those who weren't in his presence of Bill Willett will be invoked to inquire who he was, and his legacy will live on forever. I want to thank all that who made this well-deserved day a reality. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Blake Willett up to speak now.
Hello, everybody. First of all, I just want to thank everyone who's come today. I want to thank the legislators, county executive, the commissioner, all the units that are all here. This is overwhelming. I mean, I had so much that I was going to say, but I think my little brother stole my speech because them papers look familiar. But what I am going to say is that, oh my God, my father was such a humble man. Very, very humble man. And even though I see all of this around me, he was the same man that no matter what he did, when he was off and on his days off, he's that same man would just wear a pair of khakis, a t-shirt, drink a beer, and everybody, the friends from the neighborhood, which I see right here, they all know. They see him out there watering that grass with a hose. And now we see this. Well, one thing my father did do, so many people said so many things prior from 1953, so we all know about this. But what my father did, with all the adversary that was in front of him from the very beginning, he made a decision to make his life meaningful. He made a decision to make a difference. And he also made a decision to show excellence. Like my brother said, every morning he'd be up. You'd hear his footsteps. You knew it's on right now. You better be right. He'd shine his shoes. He'd do everything, my brother. That is absolutely true. And he did it because that was really just him. He believed that through this excellence that he held his own standard to, that would wear on to his job and to people that are here today, that they could see that he was about his business. Who would ever know that a man so humble that we would be here today like this? This is past monumental. There's so many people I want to say hello to, and I'm so thankful for being here. I was talking to one of my father's past, and I must say this, that my father always would say this from the mighty 5th Precinct. His first command, and I was talking with Fred Meyer on the phone constantly. He's in that crowd somewhere, and I was trying to say hello to him. But he even brought me even closer to my father, listening to the experiences and things that my father had gone through at that 5th Precinct. Right now, we have come full circle, and we're at an impasse. Where do we go from here? We're at a very turbulent time. There's race relations, all kinds of different things that are going on right now. Where do we go from here? What does Commissioner Willett really mean to the acting members who are here now? My father tried to show through his work that he's going to make a difference in the community and the people that he worked for. Well, it's your turn now. If you really believe in who he was and what he was trying to accomplish through all the adversity, it is now your turn. It is your turn to get through all of what we're going through right now, to bring it together for the good of everybody. not just one, this race, that race, this thing. It's a time to make things better for everyone. This is what he tried to do. He tried to do it by doing his job to the best of his ability. And he's asking that, he's looking down right now. And his name will be here forever. I mean, Dad, who would ever thought that this would happen? Because I know that was never your intention. Your intention just to do a good job. And I believe that's what he's asking right now. Dad, you have come home. You have come home to your second family. And that is, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. He loved this department. He loved each and every one of you. But now, Dad, those footsteps I used to hear every day you walked around the house, now they're going to hear yours. You will be here. You are back. And I am so proud of you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.